All right, we are back and we got Chiefs Chargers tonight in Brazil, 8 p.m. We got a primetime game, back-to-back nights to start the season. Who's complaining about that? We're going to hop right into things. I got some plays I want to talk about. I also have some leans in this game. I think there's definitely some angles we want to look at. We got a rookie running back coming in for the Chargers, potentially a timeshare with Najee Harris. We're going to break that down. We have Patrick Mahomes playing tonight, which is always fun, but no Rashee Rice for the Chiefs, so we could attack some other angles there. I think there's going to be a lot of good plays in this one, and, obviously, at the end of the day, this is entertainment. Make this game a little bit more fun, try to make some money along the way. That's what we're always going to try to do here. So let's hop right into things, starting with the first play, and that is going to be Isaiah Pacheco, and I'm actually going to go to his receiving yards here. I think he's going to have a decent game. We saw him get injured last year, come back with a timeshare with Kareem Hunt, but obviously the beginning of the season, it looked like he was going to get a lot of those snaps. We're not going to expect maybe 80% of the snaps here, but we could definitely expect over 50% from my point of view, and that's going to be the angle I'm attacking here. So I'm going to go to his receiving yards because I do like the angle here. A lot of books are favoring to get at least 2 receptions. I think it's like minus 180 right now, minus 170 for him to go over 1.5 receptions. And I think his receiving yards on 2 receptions seems a little bit too low. We can get this pretty much everywhere at 10 plus receiving yards or 9.5, taking the over in a lot of these different books. Looks like DraftKings just bumped, but FanDuel's got this at 9.5. So I think it's pretty readily available at 9.5, and I really like his opportunity to go over receiving yards. Again, with the snap percentage, I think going up from the end of last year to the beginning of this year, but also just the idea that he could have, Mahomes could have Mac coming in at him, and if he's going to get a lot of pressure early, potential sack opportunities there, Pacheco's going to be the beneficiary there for some quick dumps, some quick passes, and maybe some yardage right there. So if the book's thinking he's going to get 2+ receptions, I really like his opportunity to get over 9.5 yards here. Going to jump into PropsMadness. This is the tool I used all year last year using the NBA. They did just drop an NFL beta version just because they're still working on things, and I think it's going to be awesome once it's up and running and once we have a whole lot more data after the first week of play here. But I'm looking at Isaiah Pacheco here. One of the cool things they have is a ton of these different filters, and I'm looking at last year right here. Obviously not going over this, but you can see the snap percentage dropped off after that injury. You can see the first game of the season, he had 80% of the snaps, 66% of the snaps in the second game of the season, and then didn't play till November 29th. And by that time, Kareem Hunt had been, entered in the lineup, and it was really just a timeshare from there on out. I don't think he hit over 46% of the snaps in any of these games. So I think Pacheco's going to be healthy and ready to go in this one. I think they're going to lean on him a lot. You can see his numbers, 11.5 rush attempts for him. Kareem Hunt sitting at 6.5. And in those 2 games where Pacheco's getting a lot of the snap percentage, he crushed this over in receiving yards. 5 targets, 5 receptions here, and he only got 3 targets and 2 receptions here, but went for 33 yards against the Ravens. So really liking what I'm seeing here. You can see the snap percentage. If we bring this to, above 50%, you can see that it's going to be a lot better. Only 2 games, but both those when he was healthy and ready to go. But to get a few more data points here, we can even look at 2023, 2024 and see that, we can look at snap percentage, but honestly, the receptions might be even better. When he's going to get 2+ receptions, he's over this in 83% of the games. Maybe he doesn't get 7 receptions, but say, 2 to 4, 75% hit rate. We can even change this to targets. If he's going to get, let's say 3 targets, the hit rate on this is looking really, really good. Obviously 2 years ago now, but not a lot of data points to look at from last year. I just think he's going to get a lot of opportunities here, especially with the defensive pressure that the Chargers could be giving them. Some quick passes, some quick dumps is definitely in the scheme here for Isaiah Pacheco and, Patrick Mahomes. So really like what I'm seeing from Pacheco here. The last thing I'll point to is the fact that going over to Outlier to see the fact that receptions allowed last year to running backs, they ranked 27th, this Chargers defense did, which again makes sense if they give a lot of pressure to the quarterback. And that's something that's going to go, hand in hand with Pacheco getting a few yards on the air, I guess, in the air here. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Pacheco. I think he could have a good game overall, but 9.5 receiving yards for him seems a little bit too low to me. I think he can do it in 2 receptions. If he gets more than that, that's awesome. That's just icing on the cake. Just going to receptions to show you the odds on this once again. For Pacheco, a lot of books have them. PrizePicks has them at 2.0, but every other book at 1.5, heavily favoring this over. So love what I'm seeing for Pacheco. It's going to be the first play of the game. Not the sexiest line in the world at 9.5 receiving yards for the running back, but I think it's something that, I'm really confident in. Next up, we're going to talk the Chargers side of things, and I'm going to go to Lad McConkey after researching and looking into this. If I could find an angle on a different guy, I probably would have, but Lad just seems to be that guy, and it's not like his receptions are at 6.5. I'd probably shy away there. I think 5.5 is a really, really good line, and I think he's more likely to go to 6, and we see that in the numbers here. So a lot of books have this at 5.5. You can see average sportsbook odds, according to OddsJam, at minus 125.9. A lot of books are favoring the over rather than the under, so something like PrizePicks, on Underdog, doesn't have it, but Betr, Dabble, all these different DFS platforms that don't care if you take the over or the under, they're going to pay you out the same. This is one where you always want to be taking the over here based on the odds, and you can see one of the sharpest sports books in the world, Pinnacle, has got this at minus 132 and plus money on the under. So I think that's a really good indicator here. You can get some really good value if you're a DFS better, but if you're over on FanDuel or DraftKings, I definitely take this over at DraftKings as well at minus 120. I don't think that's a really tough price to pay here. Now that we got the odds talk out of the way, I don't want to just say like, oh, here's what the sports books are doing, so this is probably the way to go. It's a pretty good way to bet, but I want to also talk about the game script and how this makes sense. And the reason I was saying it's like, oh, I didn't want to go to Lad, that's not really what I was trying to say. It was more the fact that he's kind of the sexiest pick on the board. If you want to go to a wide receiver in this game, Lad's going to be your number one guy. He's the best receiver on this team, and it's a fun bet to make. And I think a lot of people just blindly take that, but it does make a whole lot of sense. And I don't care. I don't mind where his line's at right now at 5.5. Again, with all the odds, but with the game script in mind here too. So you think about the game, we hear about this, we talk about this all the time. If the Chargers are going to be down, they are plus 3.5, 3, depending on where you're looking. They are underdogs, but slightly. This could be a shootout, and then that means in a 2-minute drill or down the end of the quarter or down the end of a half even, they're going to be trying to throw the football to get downfield, to get in field goal range or get a touchdown, whatever it might be. That's what's really going to benefit Lad, going down the sidelines, getting some 10 to 15 yard receptions, which would be huge. You start tallying him up, or if you need to go down the field on a big play, that's going to benefit him as well. Throughout the game, he should be getting receptions as well. Again, going to how the Chiefs play defense, very good running back defense last year, a kind of a weaker passing defense to wide receivers specifically. So if they're going to have trouble on the ground, they're going to have to find their footing in the air, and that's what I'm thinking is going to happen here. So to look at those numbers and really put them to play, 22nd ranked in terms of receptions allowed last year to wide receivers, 23rd ranked. And again, they don't allow a whole lot of big yardage plays, as you can see to the receiving yards allowed. Going right here, they're actually ranked 6th in terms of receiving yards allowed and 16th overall. So if he's going to get the receptions, again, titter-tattering down the sideline, getting those 10 to 15 yard receptions, that's going to be huge. And we saw that in the numbers last year on a team that's really good at rushing defense. I think they were 3rd overall to running backs last year in terms of rushing defense yards allowed. I think receptions is definitely the play here once you start looking at the numbers, thinking about the game, and then icing on the cake when you take into effect what these other sports books are thinking at that 5.5 line. So those are going to be the 2 video picks for today: the Pacheco over the 9.5 receiving yards, and then Lad McConkey over his receptions. We just talked in depth about both of those, but I have a couple other leans. I really went back and forth on Patrick Mahomes because I saw his line at like 244.5. I saw his line up to 249.5 in terms of passing yards. I went back and forth, so anytime I do that, I'm probably just not going to touch the guy today. I think his line's pretty sharp. For Herbert, I was kind of back and forth a little bit, but I honestly just like the potential for him to get a lot of volume towards Lad McConkey rather than attacking his yardage. So I'm staying away from both the quarterbacks in that regard. But something that does interest me a little bit more, and I have a touchdown lean after this one, but I'll start here, is going to be the Khalil Mack 0.25 sacks line. So really just to get a half sack or more on FanDuel for plus 154. Obviously, Mahomes is a harder guy to take down, but I think this left side, if they really attack that left side, they have a rookie left tackle with Josh Simmons. They got a second-year left guard. I think that left side might be a little bit weaker, and maybe we see Mack go in there and get a full sack. If he gets a half sack, whatever it might be, I think there's just going to be a lot of pressure on that left side, and I think it's a really good payout for plus 154 on FanDuel. Probably other places, and it seems like a lot of other places have this at 0.5. I wouldn't take this anywhere else really than DraftKings. It doesn't look like anyone else has a really enticing payout for a 0.5 line, especially if you can get this at plus 154 on FanDuel. Just something I wanted to point out, and I think something very interesting to attack for a plus money play. And then quickly talking about a touchdown play, if you want to get some more plus money fun out there, I'm going to go to Xavier Worthy. Obviously, the payout isn't as good as some other guys, but I really think he has the best opportunity to get in the end zone. And for a plus 125 payout over on DraftKings right now, I don't mind that really at all. I also want to point out that Pinnacle's at plus 129, but they were just up at plus 138. So this line is starting to move potentially towards, a favorable thing for us. Any sort of line movement from a sharp book is going to be a pretty good indicator for us. So I don't mind this plus 125. Again, this would be more of a fun play here. You're not getting any sort of EV or anything on this play, but Xavier Worthy's a guy that went over, 53% of games getting a touchdown without Rashee Rice last year, and a lot of good action at the end of the year there, which is something you want to see in terms of, Patrick Mahomes and him getting a better rapport together. He's coming into the season as that wide receiver number 1. I think he's going to get a lot of targets, a lot of potential red zone opportunities here, and if you want to get some plus money, I think Xavier Worthy is going to be that guy that I like to get in the end zone today. So that's going to do it for this one. I do want to point out real quick before we go that Underdog Fantasy, if you're not signed up for Underdog, you can do so by using my code RichPicks. You can get bonus bets up to $1,000, and they have a 50% profit boost for this game, which is awesome. That means if you're going to go out there and do a 6x play, which is a 3-man, it's going to be a 9x play for just 3 legs of a parlay, which is awesome to do. We have a play that I gave out yesterday, a lot of baseball. We did have the Saquon Barkley free square we took advantage of, and we're 5 for 6 right now on a huge payout. It's going to be a 25x payout if Flacco can pull through for us, so definitely check it out. If you also use my code for Underdog, you're going to get a free month of the Discord, and I'm also giving everyone a free month of the Discord if you check out the link in the description down below. So you could walk in to my Discord, which is an awesome, community overall. We talk sports, talk props, talk plays, but I also send out my own plays. You could walk in for 2 free months just by signing up for Underdog, or if you don't even want to sign up for Underdog, go out there and claim the free month. That's in the description down below. And I realized I've totally forgot to talk about the plays we gave out yesterday in yesterday's video. We talked about Jalen Hurts to get a touchdown. Obviously, that thing was juiced. He ended up getting 2 touchdowns, which is pretty sweet. We talked about Saquon Barkley getting some rushing yards. It was tracking at the beginning of the game. Then there was the delay in the third quarter, and I thought, great, they're going to be hopefully running the ball a little bit with this lead, and that didn't happen. Saquon just didn't end up having a lot of offense at all in the second half. Really, no one had offense in the second half. And then the other play that we had is going to be another loss here, but at the same time, I don't mind the play. George Pickens had like a 35-yard potential reception. He got PI on that. I think he could have grabbed it if he really tried to, but his arm got caught up. There was a flag called, and then there was a lot of contact on another deep play that was going to be about 24, 25 yards, and there was no call. They were kind of both shoving each other, but I think there could have been something there. So I don't hate the looks there. He definitely got some long ball looks, just couldn't corral them. So yeah, not a horrible day. I think the Reebs were okay, and again, we're attacking one game. It's hard to predict everything going the right way, but that will do it for me in this one. I do really appreciate if you guys like the video or comment something down below. It does tell YouTube to push this video out a little bit more when you do that, and especially because I was on a hiatus for a little bit longer, I definitely need that to get back in the algorithm, and hopefully this video starts getting pushed out a little bit more. But yeah, thanks for watching. There should be a good game tonight, prime time again. Can't complain about back-to-back football days, and then Sunday coming right around the corner. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Appreciate everyone. Peace out. Good luck with all your bets.